We'll start in a while. So we'll talk about the sanitizers first, and one such company is Dettol. So we'll talk. So I'll walk you through the ingredients. I'm just retrieving some data sets. And particularly would like to talk about the role of EDTA in personal care products, stating the fact right now, two of the sectors, come what may, needs, or I would rather say it's going to grow in the current scheme of things, particularly not only in India but globally, stating the fact there is a real climate change, and due to the real climate change, we are going to see a lot of new diseases cropping out because of the atmospheric change, and perhaps people who have been working in intellectual property rights, it is important to note that all these orchestrations were already done way before, perhaps I would rather say around 2005 to 2010, and those problem statements today are reality in 2025. So irrespective of the fact whether or not an enterprise, a company, or the stakeholders, it is important to understand that what products should be manufactured in what quantity, because now the race is going to be quality versus quantity. And particularly, actually that refill pack is not with me right now, but I was talking about Dettol. Just give me a moment, I'm fetching the data. So the point of contact here is, or in short term, what the need of the or is. Say for example, in any household right now, there's something called as FMCG sector. In the FMCG sector itself, FMCG sector, hospitality, and internet, all these three trinity goes hand in hand. So these are the three sectors which are going to make an impact right now, given the global landscape of what is happening, and particularly in the landscape of India also, because the new world order was already established. It's just that folks couldn't appreciate that new world order. And I'm going to go through the data set of this particular company called as Dettol. So Dettol is a household name in India. Perhaps anyone and everyone must be knowing about it. It has antiseptic property. It is labeled under IMA. IMA stands for Indian Medical Association. And perhaps what is important here is to, in a given amount of time, only X number of bottles should be manufactured and everything else has to be refilled. So the code word right now here is, let me just write it down, is refill. So when I say refill, it is solving couple of problems at the same point of time, because right now we don't need innovation per se of any sort to tackle the current menace, but what the need of the hour is to go back to the whiteboard, the canvas, or whatever the nomenclature people are talking about, and understand that this change has happened. The SWOT analysis is done. What is important here is decrease the quantitative analysis of anything and everything in terms of maybe manufacturing of clothes, maybe manufacturing of shoes. Everything has to, it's not that, it's a festive season so people just start distributing it. We have been talking about circular economy for the longest time, but still things were not working out. But what is important here is, we all have these bottles. Like I have this bottle with me right now. So this is basically grape juice, which is nata de coco. It's a food beverage, and this is to do with a little bit of the coding stuff. But that doesn't mean this cannot be reused. At least it can be reused maybe 5 or 6 times, and then it has to be recycled. When I say recycle, it has to be cut and it has to then be utilized in preparing something else. So at the point of contact, these machines or this technology has to be deployed. The world has to go all IoT in very simple words. So I'll just write it down. Okay, so when I say the world has to undergo IoT full form, that doesn't mean that you start using Alexa and start doing that stuff. I'm not wearing the so-called watch right now. That doesn't mean my life is not moving on. The point of contention here is the essentials which are being utilized, because we need, just for the survival, we need a little bit of entertainment, we need a little bit of whatever the drinking habits are, we need good water, we need so many things. And the stakeholders perhaps have deteriorated everything in terms of whatever their thinking capacity was, whatever their understanding was of blockchain. Why I say so? Because of a couple of things. So I'll come back to this Dettol stuff, but a very interesting email landed in the inbox today, and today being Sunday, so I'll just read that email. And I feel sorry for these kind of individuals or whosoever they are, that being over smart is never going to solve any of their own problems. Because me working in intellectual property rights for more than 2 decades now, and since I have been working in IPR for more than 2 decades now, I know a little bit more than anybody who is trying to enter this field at any given point of time. Okay, so where is the email? I think that email, okay, in short, I'll talk about that email. So that email was something to do with the blockchain and the NFTs, and that particular person or that particular entity stated that in the email that that person is from Nagaland. Nagaland is somewhere in east of India, and he wants to file a blockchain kind of stuff. He's asking me whether I work in blockchain, which is preposterous at the first instance itself, and then trying to understand what I do in blockchain. Let me tell you, if not if, any innovator or any enterprise or any stakeholder who is part of blockchain is never going to give you any data set in terms of the data which you can utilize to build your own blockchain, because in the new world order the real blockchainers were already identified way back. I mean, when I say way back, I really mean way back. Perhaps I was recruited in some year which I don't even want to talk about, but on record it is 2017, 2018 for other folks. But we are real blockchainers, and as a blockchainer, our goal, our motivation, our vision is to regulate anything and everything and take it to the wide economy in terms of being truthful, having that trust. NFT is nothing to do with making people rich. That was just a data set. And let me tell you, when these data sets were made at the first instance, it was very clear to the operators that we will take it back when the time is apt. And that is what is happening in terms of now. There are a lot of actors. Actors are now, everybody's an actor, let me tell you. If you go by the Shakespeare law, everyone, whether it's an animal, whether it's an object, anything and everything is an actor. So whosoever has this NFT or the collection of that stuff, that would be taken back in terms of they already have reached a level where they are going to spend that amount, and that will come back to the economy. And that is what circular economy is all about. So I will just go back to our discussion of Dettol, which is a refill pack. So the point of contention here is we have to limit the number of bottles we are manufacturing so that that data set cannot be changed. And that will also take care of infringement, because right now festive season in India is at it's going to reach a peak. Irrespective, Yamuna is rising, whatever is rising, but still India is not a country of one or two dialects. India is a country of 30, 40, 50, 60 dialects. Even in Delhi itself, you will see, even for me, like the way I talk is very different for anyone who is surrounded in this particular place I live, because I come from army background in terms of my early schooling and then a convent, and I don't want to get into that data set. So I just want to talk about Dettol right now in terms of why Dettol is a little bit on a higher side but is a good antiseptic and recommended by IMA. So the point here is, all these startups who are trying to solve a problem, there is no problem. Please don't create that data set where you say that there is a problem and that problem never existed. So okay, in this particular Dettol, there's something called as cocamide DEA. It is still legal in rinse-off in USA but prohibited in EU cosmetic, that's European Union, since 2022 because of residual carcinogen concern. So again, Dettol needs to look into their data set of what they are allowing, because India, perhaps why all these things are rising in terms of why third party are undergoing this cancer process and carcinogenic process, because they don't know. Even people who are in the 0.1% of the people who are in that earning capacity, they go through these diseases thinking that they have the purchasing power. They purchase anything and everything without even knowing that that can also have an impact. So right now what India needs to do is put their scientists to use and look into the nomenclature of anything and everything. A company like Dettol also has cocamide DEA, which is prohibited in EU cosmetic because of the carcinogen concern, which is diethanolamine. So it has diethanolamine, stating that it is carcinogenic in nature. So India needs to look into their formulae, and probably all these organizations under the government, they should be looking into it, and they should not be allowing such kind of manufacturing in terms of whatever is being manufactured in India. Then we have because of this Yamuna stuff, the water is going to go bad, really bad, in terms of whatever is coming into the household things. So there's something called as pH adjuster, and uh, the pronunciation of this can be anything and everything, but I'll just take it as chelans. And chelans per se is citric acid, brings pH down to 4.8 to 5.5, which is ideal for hair keratin and for preservative efficacy. Perhaps what you need to see is the preservatives and stuff. I'll just look into. So the formulation takeaway. Now the formulation takeaway is a classic cost-effective high foam shampoo used by dozens of mass market brands. It has water plus ALS slash SLES cleansing and forming glycerine, which acts as a humectant. Salt plus cocamide MEA, which is a thickening and a foaming boost. Citric acid slash sodium hydroxide for the pH level. Sodium hydroxide is nothing but NaOH. EDTA for hard water control. And let me tell you, water, which is at the outskirts of Delhi, what is called as NCR, God bless them. Then we have MCI slash MI plus magnesium nitrate. BHT, which is preservation and stability. For the preservation and stability, the color which is being utilized is CI60730 and traces of ferrocyanide stabilizer. So if you need a milder sulfate-free version, you would be utilizing it. Okay, an order has been delivered. I need to go and take the order. Perhaps I'll come, maybe, I don't know when I'm going to come online, but I'll just going to collate the data set. You can connect with me on the DMs and stuff, and we can take it from there. Thank you for watching out the video. Have a great weekend. Not a great weekend. It's almost like we are on SOS in terms of the climate change. So accordingly, we have to go carbon negative right now.